Hello, I'm Gregory Hoag, here today with my wife Gail, and what we want to share with you is an understanding of how health and well-being can be fostered in your physical body, your emotional mind, and even in your spiritual body, working with sacred geometry. So the first thing I want to talk about is the physical. And we all understand that it's important to work with activity in your life in order to stay healthy. And of course, to eat the right foods. But that seems to be a rather confusing thing. There are many different choices that we can all make in what kinds of foods, what kinds of supplements, and that's where sacred geometry comes into play, especially some of the tools we make that really increase intuition.
So you might ask, what does sacred geometry have to do with health? Well, it connects us to the higher aspects of who we are. We have so much focus and awareness of what's going on from a physical perspective that sometimes we limit our ability to know from a broader perspective. And sacred geometry connects us mind, body, spirit, as Gregory was telling you, so that we can use all kinds of tools to become more aware, more sensitive, more intuitive, and more able to integrate all of these aspects of our being to make choices. Everything gets down to what kinds of choices are you making. So, for instance, as Gregory was speaking about the physical mode, what are the best choices that you can make for your food choices? The water you drink, how much water you drink, the activity that you have in each day. There's a lot of opportunities to make choices based on not just the old patterns and the routines that you've been familiar with, but instead asking the question from the soul level, what is best for me now? Now, Greg and I have had a very healthy diet and exercise regime over the years. However, we had a little wake-up call recently when we had some blood work done, and it wasn't quite as good as we would have liked. So it indicates that there's cycles, there's changes, and it's very important to keep staying tuned in to what is best for you during all of these different transitions and cyclical times.
An important aspect to also look for is what's going on with your emotional body. You see, so much of the time we spend in our emotional body is worrying about things, is fearful of things, is thinking about what's in the headlines that's bothering us, thinking about the things that we need to do and that don't feel good, or feeling sad about things. All these negative emotions block the flow of higher intuition. So that's what we were just talking about, the necessity for intuition to help keep you on track. And yet, when your emotional body is off, that is, when you are caught in some of these negative emotions, that blocks the heart and that blocks the doorway to the higher self, to that intuition. So it's important to really keep yourself in that space of a joyful space, a space where you're feeling gratitude, a space where you're feeling positive emotions. And that's another place where sacred geometry really helps, because when we turn on certain of our tools that are spinning, and what we find is that the field that's created is a field where the emotional body is much more at an even keel. And I've had some people tell me, like this one woman who sent back her WeConnect with the new causal generator, she said, please get it back to me as quickly as you can, because when I play it or have it turning, my children behave, they don't argue with each other, my husband is much nicer, everything flows easier. And that's an important part of health and well-being.
Absolutely. And everything is energy. We're very aware and focused on what's happening in our physical proximity, our physical body, the things that we can see, feel, touch, and smell. However, what's driving so much of that is the resonance that we're creating, the connection that we have. And that's the beauty of working with sacred geometry. Tools, for instance, like the heart companion that I'm wearing, is an opportunity for me before I start the day to set the conditions, set the tone of the day. It's that moment of mindfulness that can color everything that happens from there. We're creating a vibrational field. If everything is energy, there's all kinds of different resonances. And and can detect extreme differences when you walk into a room where there's happiness, there's joy, there's friendship, there's unity. You feel wonderful, you feel opened, and the energy is flowing. Kind of like if you're in that beautiful space in nature and you're hearing the ripples of the water of a stream. You feel at peace, you feel the rhythm, and you feel good, and your body is responding to that. Well, in contrast, if you walk into a room where there's a lot of agitation, there's confusion, there's anger, then your body starts to close up. And the energy is actually closing up. Now, in a situation when you're working with sacred geometry and you are aware of that, then you have a place of choice. You can either be in reaction or you can be in creation of the resonance that you want, the healthy, vibrant field that you want. And sacred geometry is a key to supporting us in creating these different fields.
Another thing that I do when I used to do shows to show people what's going on with their physical body is I would muscle test them. And what I do is I literally take their arm and put pressure at the end, and I would have them think of something that makes them unhappy, like what I talked about at the beginning of this piece, where I would have them think of something that makes them feel sad. And whenever they felt sad, they would go weak. And the reason is that they are disconnecting from their source flow of energy, which is needed for health when they have a negative thought. I then go on to do things like have them take a cell phone, put that next to their ear, and as if and turn it on like they're going to make a call. And what they find is, again, they cannot hold a strong muscle in their arm. They go totally weak, because that's the feedback loop. Our body goes weak when it disconnects. And that's one of the reasons we have poor health when we are constantly around cell phones and around computers and electrical outlets and electricity flow. All of that interferes with the natural flow and rhythm of our body, as do other things. I would help them understand that when they take something like an artificial sweetener and I put that in their hand, they would go weak. But in each one of these cases, when they were weak with that artificial sweetener, I would put like a heart companion in their hand, and then they would be strong. When I had them think of something negative and then put a heart companion or an eye connect in their hand, they would be strong instead of weak. And so it was with the electricity and all these different things that break that flow of energy from source. because health is all about flow, and having that flow within every aspect of our being